Welcome back to Business Live. It's brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Now, the minority in Parliament says it welcomes government's quest to make the country a petroleum hub. According to the ranking member of the Energy and Mines Committee, Adam Mutawakilu, the country stands to benefit a great deal from such a move. He, however, outlines some policy measures that government must consider to harness the agenda.
Minority, while embracing the government to continue with this concept of Ghana being a petroleum hub, there are some few inputs that we want government to consider going forward. One, government should consider using bus as the logistics center where all activities of the petroleum hub will anchor on. Government should scale up the activities of the upstream industry. This is because the byproduct of the upstream becomes the raw material for the downstream. So building an energy hub in the downstream without a complete synergy between the upstream and downstream, then we will be facing difficulties in the near future. Also, toll should be restructured and supported to be on its feet so that it will play a significant role in the refinery aspect of the petroleum hub. Turning toll to a tank farm will not inure to the benefit of Ghanaians, since Bell could play this role if it is made the logistics center. 4, to ensure that there will be reliable, available, and stable power supply to the petroleum hub, government should pursue vigorously the availability of liquefied natural gas to complement indigenous gas as a source of fuel for the power plants.
The year-on-year inflation rate for the month of May 2018 has increased to 9.8% from the 9.6% recorded in April. Increase in both inflation rate for food and non-food inflation were key drivers for the general hike in the inflation. Now, inflation has been inching up over the past month, and the acting government statistician Bawadia has been telling us more in a press conference.
According to the acting government statistician, the drivers for the hike in inflation can be linked to the inching up of both food and non-food inflation. Presenting the year-on-year inflation, Bawadia revealed that the monthly change rate in May 2018 was 1%, compared with 0.9% recorded in April 2018.
And for March 2018, the consumer price index stood at 214.1. And this translates into a yearly change of 10.4% and a monthly change of 1.4%. For April 2018, the index level was 216.0, and this translates into a yearly change of 9.6% and a monthly change of 0.9%. For May 2018, the index, or the consumer price index, stood at 218.1, which translates into a yearly change of 9.8% and a monthly change of 1.0%.
Speaking to Joy Business after the presentation, Bawadia noted that the performance of inflation rates are basically based on government policies. He believes policy interventions like the 10% hike in transport fares could negatively impact inflation rates.
I believe that what can keep, you see, it only inched up from 9.6 to 9.8, and we're actually more to a base-driven effect. But the keeping it down or up will depend on policies that are implemented. For example, you realize that for last month, when due to the regulation of the water sector, utilities sector, and prices went down marginally, it affected the inflation rate and recorded the lowest inflation so far since 2013. We recorded a rate of 9.6%, and it was a policy decision. And so going forward, it's the policies that government implements that are going to influence inflation.
The May 2018 inflation rate of 9.8% is the second lowest since January 2013. The April rate was 9.6%.
The General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, GAU, Edward Karaway, is urging Ghanaians to brace up and work hard to combat emerging threats in the agri sector. His caution is coming on the heels of a warning by a scientist that an imminent emergence of the cassava brown streaker disease is expected to hit West Africa in the next 10 years. Edward Karaway explains that disease is as a result of human activities coupled with the effects of climate change.
Cassava brown streak disease is a damaging disease affecting the cultivation of cassava, especially in East Africa. First discovered in Tanzania in 1936, it has since spread throughout the coastal areas of East Africa. The disease causes cassava tubers to become inedible, which eventually results in severe economic loss. Recently, at a meeting in Cotonou, Benin, a scientist, Dr. Richard Stott, warned of the spread of this disease in West Africa within the next 10 years.
We have a large host landscape of where our cassava fields are placed at different locations in the landscape, and then we simulate the dispersal of the pathogen via, in this case it's via whitefly or possibly via trade. And the model, we learn from data how far an individual whitefly is likely to go. So but most whitefly will stay within their sort of home, the field where they were born. But then every now and then a whitefly will go to a neighbouring field, and maybe 1% of whitefly will go a kilometre away, and then maybe 1 in 10,000 whitefly will go 5 kilometres away. But there are millions of whitefly in a single field, so even a very low chance of an individual whitefly going a long distance means that there's a very large potential for long distance spread just on the basis of large numbers.
But in response to this announcement, General Secretary of GAU, Edward Karaway, is explaining that the disease is caused by negative human activities coupled with the effects of climate change. He urged Ghanaians to brace themselves up and work hard to combat the looming threat.
It will be difficult to, conclude that the fertility is still the same when there have been massive encroachment on the soil. That same soil has been mixed with chemicals, and rivers are polluted and so on. What is the overall effect on our environment, and for that matter our soil fertility and so on? Now, when these things are happening, compounded with climate change, it makes our environment more favorable to certain type of disease and worms, and that is why we will begin to experience more and more of influx of worms, new forms of worms that into our environment. It's not surprising to me, and I will not be surprised if more of this type of worms invade our environment, because we have made it now susceptible to some of these things. We've made it more weaker, than before, because of our own human activity, compounded with the general climate change, which is affecting the entire sub-region. Rains are not coming the way they should come. We get unnecessary floods, we have droughts, we have all that. And they all work together to create a favorable environment for some of these pests to survive.
Ghana's agri sector has already been hit by the fall armyworm disease, causing significant destruction to productivity and affecting agri development in the process.
Now, the first batch of graduates to be enrolled onto the enterprise model of the Nation Builders Corps will begin work in the first week of August. The Trade and Industry Ministry is engaging some businesses on modalities for effective participation. Now, as part of the engagement, the Association of Ghana Industry says it will employ 80% of the graduate participants of the program. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Roberta Humkalin, says it will culminate into the signing of an MOU. President Pierre has details in this report.
About 200 businesses under bodies like the Association of Ghana Industries and the Ghana Chamber of Commerce attended the meeting in Kumasi. The Free Zones Board and other government agencies, as well as development partners like the USAID, JICA and GIZ, are also involved. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Robert Ahomkalinsi, says it will culminate in the signing of a memorandum of understanding.
What that seeks to do is look at how we are going to work with the 200 that were here. Our target is 500 companies to attach the NABCO graduates to those companies as part of a very structured and detailed apprenticeship program. And that is the way we're looking at it with the businesses here. Because we realize that right now most of the companies are still very much having come through a tough period getting things, let's say, sorted. And our idea is that we are going to sign an MOU with every one of these companies with the viewpoint of taking the graduates that they need. Let me stress, the graduates that they need to help them run their business. When we do that, we've agreed with them over the 3-year period the sorts of programs that we have, such as the fact that each of the graduates will have 12 weeks of guaranteed training. 6 weeks of that will be done by government. Another 6 weeks will be done by the company in line with the jobs that the graduates are doing in the company themselves. And in effect, what we are doing is preparing our Enterprise Ghana participants, which are the companies, to ensure that they are ready to take on our graduates on August 6th when they come in.
A monthly allowance of 700 Ghana cedis for personnel has generated misunderstanding among some graduates. Mr. Ahomkalinsi revealed government will pay the allowances for only the first part of the 3 years.
Government is looking to support them, and that support, by necessity of prudent budget, has to have a time limit. So what we basically stated for one and a half of the 3 years, government will pay for that support. We will continue to provide the 6 weeks training as government all the 3 years. The middle of the second year, the companies will pick up the cost, and the third year, they will take on the cost. Because what we're trying to do in most of the cases is integrate these graduates into the businesses of these companies, so that we hope and aspire, and part of our agreement is that by the end of the middle of the third year, we should be in a situation where it's a seamless transition into the corporation, because already they would have been paying for them for the past year. And so the uptake doesn't become so much of a hurdle, but a process where government has facilitated that process.
The Association of Ghana Industries has said it will employ 80% of graduate participants under the Nation Builders Corps program. Ashanti Mbono Ahafo Zonal Chairman of the AGI, Ifwa Jimfua Osu Chow, has been speaking to Loud Business.
AGI is actually to support the government in interviewing the applicants, one, and then to help the government to enroll some of the applicants into the private sector, and then to give them the on-the-job training, and also to retain them, some of the good ones. So we promise that we are ready to employ about 80% of the people who will be training with us.
In other news tonight, the number of inspection agencies at the country's ports will reduce significantly from the beginning of next month. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia made this known at the launch of the 2018 Mobile Tech Expo here in Accra.
This year's Mobile Expo is bringing together some of the big players in the technology space to look at how to enhance economic prosperity through technology. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in an address at the launch, revealed that effective July, there will be a reduction in the number of inspection agencies at the various ports in the country. This is to help ease the process of clearing goods at ports.
We have undertaken a review of the paperless system and we've taken a few decisions. From July 1st, we're reducing the number of agencies undertaking joint inspections at the port from 16 to 3. So from July 1, when you were doing joint inspections, you would only have 3 agencies now: Ghana Standards Authority, Food and Drugs Authority, and the Customs. They can be joined by National Security and NABCO, of course, based on intelligence. Otherwise, if there's no particular intelligence for national security or NABCO to be there, they wouldn't be there. You would just have 3 institutions who will do the joint inspection. And this will speed up the process a lot, because when you have 16 institutions doing a joint inspection and one doesn't show up, the inspection doesn't get completed. And you can imagine that is not normal, that usually 1 or 2 are not there on time.
The Vice President also revealed government's plan to formulate a digital roadmap soon.
We came back, and I think in a couple of months, Ghana will be launching a major conference, international conference, where we will be addressing the issue of defining a digital roadmap for Ghana. And that will be a very, very important outcome of this particular conference, and is going to be attended by Ghanaians and innovators and global players.
And you're watching Business Live. It's time for the Joy Business Van. You're probably aware of the stereotypes about auto mechanics. However, this mechanic dispels some of the misconceptions with his unique service of car transformation. Today on the Joy Business Van, we meet the unique auto mechanic, Kelvin Quay, who's giving car lovers the power to transform their vehicles to whatever version or style that best suits them.
Kelvin Quay simply loves cars. His passion for cars began way back in his high school days. While his colleagues spent their high school vacation having fun, he spent his at a friend's car fitting workshop. Today, despite having a master's in finance, Kelvin has turned his hobby of fixing cars into a business of car transformation, Standcast Auto Works.
I started when I was in senior high, and that was with Kobe Beck. He started the whole Beck spectrum. They also do a lot of tuning of cars, and I was following in his footsteps, always going to his end. And it's got to a time where I realized that my passion was no more with tuning cars, that was more of like transforming them, paint jobs, special paint jobs, upgrades, and a lot more. And I just fell into it. I just knew that I had to fall. This was my criteria, so I just picked it up and.
From simple spraying of cars, upholstery fitting, and regular car body works, Standcast Auto Works does everything in Auto Works. However, a flagship service is the upgrade of cars from older versions to newer versions at a fraction of the cost of a totally new one.
Standcast Auto Works is a premier care vehicle center which specializes in auto collision, upholstery, spraying, wrapping, you name it, any car thing. The freshest things on the market when it comes to car products, car care, we are just the number one stop shop for you, Standcast Auto Works. For the transformation, it's not something we push onto people. Let me give you a clear example. The car we have the most transformations done is the Land Cruiser L200. We transform it from the L200, that's the predecessor of the current model, to the L300. And one thing I've realized for a personal experience from the Land Cruiser, it's a really, really strong vehicle. It's a vehicle you can't do away with. I will actually say it's the strongest vehicle for Africa. And most of the people who bought theirs late 2014, 2013 didn't have the opportunity of using their vehicles to the fullest until the current model came in. That was in 2016. So, and selling it now and topping it up, you are going to top up hundreds and tens of thousands of dollars. Why wouldn't I rather change it for a fraction of that price and get it looking like the new one? Virtually, the car is the same. They didn't change a lot about it, and everything outwardly is what we are changing over here. So it gets into people's minds like, yeah, let me just get it. Let me look different. It's not you're not scamming anybody. It's your car. You want to look good, and we make that possible.
Kelvin is currently working on a 2012 Toyota Land Cruiser. At the end, it will become a 2018 version.
This is a Land Cruiser J200. It's a 2012 model, and we are revamping it. We are actually transforming it to the J300 2018 model. Yeah, so right now we've taken up the front grille, the headlights, the bumper assy, the whole bumper. This didn't come with a bumper lip. we are about to take off the front bumper support, the front fenders are off. So we'll be taking up the bonnet in a moment from now. We'll transfer the guard. This is an airflow. It sends the air into the intercooler. We need to put on the new bonnet. So it feeds the intercooler with air. New headlights, new front grille, new front bumper with the LEDs and day running lights running through the front grille, which goes into the headlights, and a whole new setup in the front.
Are there any other parts that you'll be changing with respect to the vehicle?
Yes, we'll be changing the trunk, the top trunk, the rear glass, the running boards, the steps, the door chrome pieces, the back lights, the back bumper RC, and the back bumper lip. Yes, with the fenders inclusive. Yeah.
Okay. So after 2 weeks of breaking apart, fixing and screwing on parts, voila, we have a 2016 Toyota Land Cruiser with its sleek new benders, LED headlights and backlights. Standcast Auto Works has transformed many cars over the years, from high-end SUVs to saloon cars, jet skis and even motorcycles. Though working on getting his permanent space, Kelvin hopes to expand and extend his unique services across Africa.
Great stuff, isn't it? Well, let's turn to our interview of the day. Standard Chartered Bank has been explaining the reason for high non-performing ratios it recorded in the 2017 financial year. The bank says it is bent on helping small and medium-scale enterprises as well as the agricultural sector in their quest to grow the economy. Now, Standard Chartered Bank is one of the few banks in the country with high non-performing loans of more than 20%. Chief Financial Officer Kweku Nimfa Isuman explains in this interview after the bank took its turn at the Ghana Stock Exchange's facts behind the figures in Accra.
NPL ratio is a ratio, like I did indicate, is the non-performing loans over the gross loans. Now, when the gross loans is coming down, they are paying off, the ratio will be very high. So that's why it's high. What it means is that the numerator, being the NPL, they have been constant over the last 2 years. Their legacy book is the shrink in the total gross loan that's doing the trade. That's why it's really high. So the higher the base, the smaller will be the ratio. The smaller the base, the bigger will be the ratio.
You seem to be more exposed to agric manufacturing and commerce. Why have you decided to do that instead of other areas?
Agric we see as the backbone of this economy. We are agric-led economy. So we think as a bank we should support agric. That's how come we into that space.
So are you moving towards that direction again as we move into 2018, 2019?
We'll take the decision based upon the strategy and the opportunity that we find in there.
Okay, your shareholders have approved your move to bring down your surplus income to help with the recapitalization. How soon are we going to see you making all these regulatory processes to meet the requirement?
The program has been announced today, and we have to follow to the program because we have to deal with regulators. So there's a program that we are following. We hope soon we'll conclude on it.
Well, that's our program tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com. My name is Daruka. We're back same time tomorrow.